Well, so welcome back from the break. As we speak, the Electoral Commission is addressing a news conference on how the exercise tomorrow will be. You know that from tomorrow, those who have just turned 18 will start registering to take part in the December elections. Let's take you live to the news conference to take a brief of what the Electoral Commissioner is saying.
Equally important to highlight that we have gazetted all our registration centers, as well as the movement plans that will be followed by our mobile teams. In fulfillment of Regulation 3 of CI 91 as amended, which requires us to provide at least 21 days notice to the political parties, we have briefed all our political parties of the upcoming registration exercise. This took place on Thursday, the 7th of March, during our IPAC meeting. And we shared with the parties the various centers nationwide, as well as the movement plan. I'd like to mention that the gazetted centers, our registration centers, as well as our movement plan, have been posted on our website. By informing the political parties as required by law, parties are now able to plan and prepare their agents to observe the voters' registration exercise nationwide. The Commission has always maintained that any interested party should, at the click of the button, be able to know the number of registered voters per day nationwide. This is because we provide them with adequate information that allows them to train their monitors or their agents to observe the exercise. In addition to that, we are mindful and we are confident that the observers also take a record of persons who come through to register on a daily basis at all the registration centers. Additionally, the kits or the registration kits have the capacity to print a start of day and end of day report, and copies of these are available to the agents of the political parties. Therefore, any political party, if they are interested, should know the number of persons who have registered in all the centers in any given day. We are confident that the arrangements we have deployed will help bring the registration activities closer to the doorstep of the citizenry. In 2023, we targeted approximately 700,000 new registrants, and we far exceeded that by registering 910,000 new registrants. We have no doubt that with these arrangements in place, we will exceed our target of 623,000 new registrants this time around. Ladies and gentlemen, over the last few months, we've invested a considerable amount of time into procuring our materials and logistics for the registration exercise and the election as a whole. Since 2020, we have adopted an open competitive bidding process as the method of our procurement. As such, with approximately 95% of our procurement advertised in the local newspapers, we are able to obtain value for money for our services and for materials. It has equally injected competition into our procurement and drastically reduced the prices at which we procure our materials. It is not a wonder that we managed to lower the cost of our election from $13 per head in 2016 to $7.70 per head in 2020, and saved our nation a substantial amount of $90 million United States dollars. I'll now turn my attention to the distribution of materials and logistics. We have effectively distributed all our materials to the regions and districts, and we are confident that there will be no short supply. Additionally, our biometric voter registration kits, as well as spare kits to serve as backups, have been distributed to the regions and districts. We have spent the last few months laying the building blocks for peaceful, credible, and transparent electoral processes and elections in December 2024. And in addition to the two measures aforementioned, our key building block, which relates to the hiring of qualified personnel to assist the Commission in undertaking the election, has been achieved. As some of you may have observed, the Commission advertised this in the Daily Graphic of 5th of February 2024 and called for qualified persons to apply for the positions of returning officers and deputy returning officers. I'm happy to note that we have successfully recruited returning officers and deputy returning officers for each of our 268 district offices nationwide. For the first time in our history, we have created a database of these officers, and we can now identify them by their names, photographs, Ghana cards, and voter ID cards, as well as residential addresses. Hitherto, they existed on paper. They were names on paper. Today, we are able to match a person's name and to his photograph and ID card and so on. I'm pleased to note that the interviews for returning officers and deputy returning officers were conducted in a fair and open and transparent manner. Interview panels were constituted nationwide, and persons who successfully went through the interviews have been included on the database established for this purpose. I'm happy to note that all persons recruited have no less than 8 years working experience with the Commission, having served as either returning officers, deputy returning officers, or presiding officers in past elections. What this means is that every person who has been recruited as a returning officer or a deputy returning officer has had previous working experience with us, either working as returning officers or deputy returning officers or presiding officers in past elections. Therefore, I'd like to mention that there is no truth in the allegation that the Commission received the names of returning officers from district chief executives, etc. In any case, the Commission will make and has always made available the names and photographs of its returning officers and deputy returning officers to the political parties. And any party can object to the name of a selected returning officer or deputy returning officer. The Commission, on receiving the objections, may institute investigations, and if the allegations are found to be true, that candidate will be disengaged. On the contrary, if there is no substance to the allegation, the person objected to will be maintained. It is our desire to continue to operate a transparent and open door policy in all our dealings. I'm happy to note that some selected returning officers will work as registration supervisors during this registration exercise. In all, 3,277 officials made up of permanent and temporary staff have been trained to undertake various roles in this 21-day voter registration exercise. I'd like to turn my attention to the mode of registration. Ladies and gentlemen, the registration will be for 21 days, and it will include Saturdays and Sundays. All our district offices will have fixed teams, ranging from 2 to 3 teams, depending on the size of the district and the expectation of the number of registered voters to come through. The teams will work throughout the period in their offices. The mobile teams, as the name connotes, will move around from one electoral area to the next electoral area. They will spend 2 days in each electoral area and register qualified applicants in a particular electoral area, as well as the catchment area around that electoral area where they are at any given point. What this means is that once the mobile teams visits an electoral area, they will spend 2 days there. But you find that there are other electoral areas around there, and anybody who visits a particular electoral area from a nearby electoral area would be registered. However, our officers would inquire from them the closest polling station to the area where they reside, and they will register them in those polling stations appropriately. The mobile teams assigned to the 25 public universities will, however, spend 3 days in each public university. We would like to talk about the eligibility criteria. CI 91, as amended by CI 126, will be used for the voters' registration exercise. Only Ghanaians 18 years and above who are of sound mind and who have not previously registered can register to vote. Eligible voters must be resident or ordinarily resident in the district where they intend to vote. The documents required for registration are either the Ghana passport or the Ghana card, that is the national identification card issued by the National Identification Authority. Voters, eligible voters who do not possess any of the above documents are required by law to visit the district officers in the district where they reside with 2 guarantors. And these 2 guarantors must be persons who are already registered voters to vouch for their citizenship and age. Sadly, in 2023, during the voters' registration exercise, the Garanta system was abused, and we found persons vouching for more than the 10 persons as the law prescribes. Our law prescribes that a Garanta should not guarantee for more than 10 persons. However, in the 2023 voters registration exercise, we observed that some guarantors guaranteed for more than 10 persons. The Commission is engaging with the Data Protection Agency and the Ghana Police Service to explore avenues to bring the violators of the Garanta system to book. Subsection 4 of Regulation 1 of CI 91 as amended states that a registered voter shall not guarantee the identity of more than 10 persons. So it is an offense to guarantee for more than 10 persons. And we observed after our 2023 voters registration exercise that some of the guarantors violated this law. Security. We have to date held extensive discussions with the National Election Security Task Force under the leadership of the Inspector General of Police. We have provided them with the locations of the registration centers and the movement plans of our mobile teams. We have also informed them about our concerns, particularly relating to minors, that is underage voters, attempting to access our voters register. We are confident that our law enforcement officers will assist us by preventing minors and foreigners from accessing the register. The photographs and images of minors in the queues during our last voters registration exercise was quite disappointing. And we like to call on those who bus minors and foreigners to the centers to desist from so doing. We would also like to call on you, our media partners, to help us to bring these persons who bus minors and foreigners to our centers to light. As the watchdogs of our democracy, we trust that we can count on you to do this. Persons with disability. As always, we have put in place arrangements for persons with disabilities to access our various centers and receive immediate attention. Persons with disability include persons who are visually impaired, physically challenged, or persons who have albinism, amongst others. Our officers have been directed to to make them comfortable by ensuring that they do not join long queues, but are afforded the opportunity to be served as soon as they arrive at the centers. We also call on the general public to bear this in mind and not oppose the protocols that have been put in place for persons with disabilities. Publicity. As you may have observed, the Commission is undertaking extensive public education on major radio and TV networks across the country. Our radio jingles and TV promos, as well as our docudramas, are being aired in 7 different local dialects, excluding English language. They are Akan language, Gan, Dagbani, Ewe, Wala, Frafra, amongst others. And we are confident that with the extensive public education, we will reach every nook and cranny of this nation, and indeed every household. We have no doubt that this awareness will encourage persons who have recently turned 18 or others who have not previously registered to register to vote. Please note that it is an offense to register more than once, and persons who violate this law will be liable for prosecution. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we are confident that with the cooperation of our stakeholders, i.e. the citizenry and the political parties, the security agencies, and yourselves, our media partners, will witness a peaceful, seamless, and successful voters registration exercise that will uphold Article 45 of the 1992 Constitution. We are confident that with our collaboration and our partnership, we can together ensure that only eligible citizens register to vote come the 7th of December 2024. We'd like to thank you for your time, and we end by saying that may God bless our nation, Ghana, and make her great and strong. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much, Madam. We want to have some questions and answers. So if you want to ask a question as usual,
All right, thank you very much. That was from the Electoral Commission head quarters there, where the Electoral Commissioner was speaking about preparations for tomorrow's exercise, promising that everything will be free and fair, and that if you see something, again, say something. My name is Samuel Kojobre. Thanks for being a part of this. On behalf of the team, please, thank you for being a part of the show. Up next is we have business live for you. Stay on.